Welcome to the Retire with Peace podcast, the podcast where we help you create a fulfilling and stress-free retirement. Each week, we bring you expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you plan and live your best retirement life. Whether you're nearing retirement or already enjoying your golden years, this podcast is here to support you every step of the way. Let's embark on this journey together and discover how to retire with peace.
Welcome back to the Retire with Peace podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dave Zaegel. Today's episode is brought to you by CWOs for Hire, which is the retirement planning firm that I co-own. This time of year, we are bringing on new clients. We don't do that year-round, otherwise that would be chaos and craziness. But this time of year, we do bring on new clients. So if you're looking for help or just have questions, reach out to us at cwosforhire.com. Can I buy the boat? It's a question we get fairly often, even if it's not specifically about a boat. We're in the Midwest here, so a fairly small percentage of the clients we work with have a boat. It's not like we're out on the coast somewhere. We have lakes nearby, but it's not necessarily that we get asked about a boat specifically. But I'm using the boat as an example of a purchase that isn't necessarily needed, but it's something that a retiree wants to do, and it's fairly expensive. So it could be a big fancy car. It could be a new kitchen. Just take your pick. Just think of a big purchase where they're going to need a big chunk of money. They're a little bit nervous about doing that in retirement. They're just trying to figure out, can I buy this? So I call it, can I buy the boat? Oftentimes when people are looking at a question like this, they'll start diving into all sorts of different analysis, just super detailed, lots of variables, and just way deeper than they actually need to look. Sometimes you might need a deep analysis, but most of the times that's not necessarily the case. The tool that we use to help with this is called the Retirement Income Guardrails. You can Google this. We've done podcast episodes on this before. We even had a guest on, his name's Matthew Jarvis, talk about retirement income guardrails because he uses them in his practice. So there's plenty of resources out there if you want to. We're not going to go deeply into guardrails. We'll talk about it for sure. But you can Google retirement income guardrails. You can Google Guyton Klinger, because that was a white paper that was written about 2 decades ago talking about this. But retirement income guardrails is something that we use all the time to evaluate a question like this, because it lets us know how much extra cash and cushion we have to be able to use, but still maintain some income. I'll use an example of a client. They wanted a big purchase recently, and we were looking at their guardrails, and we looked at it and said, okay, your guardrails show that you can be taking out $3,300 from your investments every month. You'll be totally fine. Now, in their case, they actually weren't taking that much out at this point. They just didn't need it. They wanted to keep the money invested, so they were taking out a lesser amount than that $3,300. So we said, okay, let's look at these guardrails. And what the guardrails do at a very high level is they let us know, if the account values drop to a certain level, where might it be good to cut back on the income temporarily while we let the investments bounce back? Or vice versa, if the investment accounts go up to a certain level, where can we start having additional income taken out if we'd like, just for more fun things, vacations, whatever they want the money for. So we have these guardrails in place to let you know if you're right in the middle, somewhere in between, here's how much income you can be taking out on a monthly basis and not really worry about running out of money. So we're able to look at this client's situation and say, right now, you can take out about $3,300. And here's this lower guardrail. If the account values get down to this level, you would have to start taking out less. You'd have to start taking out $3,000 a month instead of $3,300. Now, I mentioned they weren't even taking out that much because they didn't need it. They were just letting it be invested. So we can very quickly answer their question of, can I buy a boat? For them, it wasn't a boat, but it was a big purchase. we're able to very quickly say, hey, this purchase is going to take you down closer to this lower guardrail where you'd only be allowed essentially to take out $3,000 a month instead of $3,300. But you'd have the money for this big purchase, what you want to do. Is that okay? And they said, well, yeah, of course. We don't even need the 3,000. We're taking out less than that right now. So very quickly, didn't need a whole bunch of big analysis and projections and Monte Carlo simulations and all this stuff. We can use tools like retirement income guardrails to quickly answer the question, can I buy the boat? Can I buy this? Can I spend this chunk of money and still be okay? The answer was instantaneously yes when they saw what that amount of income they could use was and what it would cost them for their purchase. It's that simple. It took minutes to answer the question, get them comfortable, and allow them to give themselves permission to make the purchase. No stress, no craziness, no big calculations to review different inflation assumptions, blah, blah, blah. No, have these tools that are very simple, that work, that can show us in an instant how much money we can spend and still be in a good place for retirement. So again, it's something you can look up online. If you have questions on it for your situation, please feel free to reach out to us. There are simple tools out there that will allow you to do this analysis quickly with good results. You don't have to spend days and days and days doing analysis and going back and forth. You can answer these questions using these tools and just go about your life.